everybody, my name is Shibby. I'm an esports colorcaster and celestial ranked player in Marvel Rivals, and today we're bringing back a fun series, the Marvel Rivals Hot Take series. Now, some of these are hot takes and some of them not so much, but we're going to be sourcing them from both Twitter and Reddit to see if some of these takes are valid. I think season 3 has been a very interesting season for hot takes because the DPS players are eating good. Tanks and supports have been complaining because they're not getting any new heroes. Tank meta has stayed the same for a while with Emma and Magneto. There is so much to talk about in season 3, and I will be making more videos like this. So if you want to see some of your hot takes featured in my next video like this, please leave your hot takes in the comment section down below. I read everything. I really do appreciate it, but I don't want to keep you guys waiting any longer. So let's just get into it. So for our first take, why are all domination maps so horrendously bad? I actually disagree with this. I think the reason people don't like domination maps is because a lot of them can be very close, like they're very close knit and they're very like action heavy. Whereas you look at like convergence maps or payload maps, a lot of the time there's a lot of like downtime in between. Not that I'm saying if you get wiped out like a domination map that you don't have to walk all the way back, but the fact that the spaces that the domination maps, kind of own, they're very, very small. It's generally just a circle with some sort of, item or object in the middle. Sometimes it's destroyable, sometimes it's not, right? Like think with the Loki, like the Loki one or the Yggdrasil one where they've taken it out. Not a lot of people have played it because it's been taken out for so long now. But I didn't really mind most of the maps on that. There was that one map, the one that's featured here, the one with like the bridge and stuff like that, a lot of people didn't like. But Hydra is a very good map. I don't know why people complain about Hydra. I feel like the only people that complain are the ones that like don't care or don't like the map change that happens on some of them. But in reality, like it's very predictable. When one team gets to 50%, the map changes. It's a very simple map change. I will agree, Celestial Husk Clintar is terrible. I hate that map. That is like what I talked about where it's like a really enclosed space. It's taken to the extreme, but Beer and T'Challa, like that's a very good map. I like Krakoa. Krakoa is a good set of domination maps. Like it's very varied. There's a lot of different strategies you can pull on a lot of the maps. I like how there's like an enclosed one. There's a more open one. I really enjoy the map design for Krakoa. I will agree though, and I think it's just because of Celestial Husk and how bad it is, that a lot of people are hating on domination maps. Where I think for me, domination has always been my favorite game mode. I love the idea that the momentum can change at any given moment and you can flip the point and you can win. Like a lot of the times, you can get games like it looks like it's lost or they win first point or they win first fight. It's like at 70% and then you flip it and then you just hold it for 99%. Like a lot of that stuff can happen. I love the strategy that goes into it where you can carry ultimates over into the next round. I think that's really cool. Whereas that's not something that was done before in other hero shooters. I think the hate for domination maps is a little too much. I just think if people played more domination and they got used to it, they would love it more. But I get why people don't like it. This individual says, I don't care what Necro said. Stop banning Black Panther. I will say, I think the Black Panther mind control bans are crazy. This hero has gotten 0 changes. He's actually gotten nerfed up to prior versions. And for whatever reason, people are saying he's OP or XYZ. He's gotten 0 changes. The meta around him as well. Marvel Rivals has released heroes that actually like completely destroy him, right? Mr. Fantastic, Thing, Emma Frost, like they all are like anti-Black Panther in the sense of like their kits counter Black Panther. The fact that now that Thing is so good, he's like a top 3 tank, right? He's right behind Emma and Magneto, and we are still banning back Black Panther in season 3 is insane to me. Now I get it. If you're a strategist or you're a support player, it's very frustrating to play against a Black Panther. I'm not going to discount that. You do have tools to deal with them, but there are just very good Black Panthers, right? When I play at like GM Celestial level, yeah, Black Panthers can be really scary, but again, you do have tools to stop them. Obviously, if you don't have a Thing player on your team, he's much more of a valid ban. But I've been seeing like double ban Black Panthers, right? Like you lose so many bans because this hero just terrorizes the sport line. And it sucks because the fact of the matter is that because people constantly ban Black Panther, they actually don't get enough practice to play against him. And the rare moments where he does get left open, because you don't have practice going against Black Panther, he seems more OP than he actually is. And that's the big issue. Black Panther does not have enough playtime against him to where you can understand what to do against him, right? If you look at other heroes like Emma or Magneto, or if you look at other DPS, you know, Hawkeye, Hela, we've had like multiple seasons playing against them. You can kind of know what to do, what to play against them, right? Whether it's double shield, dive, whatever. So when certain heroes are consistently banned out and you rarely see them in the meta and they're like high skill heroes, right? Black Panther is like mechanically very demanding. When you play against somebody that's proficient at this hero, especially if you're a support player who is, you know, generally tends to be on the less mechanically intensive roles and, you know, for whatever reason, they don't know how to deal with that. Even if they have the tools, even if you are something like a Luna Snow who has a freeze, right? Even if you are something like a Mantis who has a sleep, or Invisible Woman who has the ability to like jump away or push and stuff like that. A lot of the time, it feels very helpless as a support player or a strategist player when you're going against a Black Panther, because you're expected to kind of deal with it by yourself sometimes. And when you have to kind of devise a whole team around it, whether it is like a Namor Hulk combo or its thing or whatever, you feel like you don't have control against the matchup. It's very reliant on your team. So I understand the Black Panther bans, but if we stopped banning it more, I guarantee you'd probably win more games because your team probably has a way to counter it. There are tons of Hulk players, Thing players, they're in the meta, Namor players. Like there are ways you can deal with it. And I think the Black Panther like agenda where he's like, oh, he's super OP or he's this and that, that's fake, because he's been the same hero, if not slightly worse, since the beginning of the game. This user on Reddit goes, can I just play one match in comp as my boy without being yelled at, please? I love playing the little shark guy. And this guy goes, I want 2 support ults. I hate you and I will complain the whole match now. This is a little bit, I'm gonna say this is a bit of a hot take from my end. I actually don't hate seeing Jeff the Landshark players. I will say it does suck sometimes when like the enemy team is running like Loki Luna and you have like Invisible Woman and Jeff the Landshark, or you have like Luna plus Luna plus the Jeff the Landshark. But there are situations where Jeff the Landshark are very good. Obviously, just even putting the Storm team up aside, because he is pretty good with Storm, there are moments where like if enemy team is playing Invisible Woman, Jeff the Landshark is like an actual viable counter. His ultimate directly counters Invisible Woman, because when Invisible Woman ults, the circle that she makes, everybody's in, Jeff the Landshark circle is, I think, slightly bigger, the radius for his ultimate. So he'll swallow up anybody that's sitting in that ult. And if you have like, you know, ledges, if you have wall, like, you know, that kind of stuff where you can throw people off or you can kind of take people to their death, that's where Jeff the Landshark is good. I don't agree with all the Jeff players just kind of unilaterally picking him in every single map and every single scenario. I think like many heroes in Marvel Rivals, certain maps lend themselves to certain heroes' strengths. And when you have maps in the game that have those ledges where you can jump off of, when you have those areas where you can spit people out, like, you know, I was just talking about Hydra Charteris, right? The Domination map where there's that area with the lava. He's very good there. There's obviously Beer and T'Challa. He's very good there. There are a lot of maps with ledges. That's where Jeff the Landshark can shine. And I think if you're flaming somebody for the pick, before even seeing how they're going to perform, I think you, at best, you are only making yourself an enemy to that player. Like they're not gonna be appreciative of you. Like, you know, oh, I picked this hero I'm pretty good at. Like, let's say I'm not saying like Lord is a good metric, but let's say they have like 100 hours on Jeff the Landshark. Like I've played at GM and Celestial level with so many Jeff the Landsharks, and most of the time they're doing pretty well. I rarely think they're ever the reason we're losing, unless it's like, yeah, we just need like a support ultimate that can help us out. We need like a Luna, or we need like a Loki to copy the Luna so we can contest. But a lot of the time, these Jeff the Landshark players are playing him correctly. They're healing. They're doing damage when they need to. They got really good ultimate usage. Like that is the big difference, I think, for Jeff the Landsharks, is how they use their ultimate and how much value you get out of it. But flaming picks even before the game starts, or even before the round starts, before you actually see how that person plays, is disgusting. I rarely ever look at games and can blame it on one player, even if it is a Jeff player. Like I can never just blame the game on one singular individual unless they are like actively trying to throw the game or actively harming the game, like in trying to like lose it. Most of the time there's stuff in everybody's game that you can look at, even in yours, and be like, oh, well, I could have played this better. I could have done this better. That's my opinion on it. I don't agree with Jeff to land Shark 8 unilaterally, especially pre-round, but I do get annoyed when they won't swap, when there is a very clear problem of like, we are getting outvalued with support ultimates and you aren't getting enough value with your ultimate, which is like your big tool to swing fights, because he can swallow up multiple people and he can turn 6v6s into like 3v5s or 3v6s very, very quickly. This person from Twitter goes, message to all Warlock mains. You don't need to wait for a team wipe to ult. Sometimes ulting to revive one healer is already enough. And stop wasting soul bonds the millisecond you're being dived. Okay, two-parter. I can agree with this, but it is very situational. Obviously, I think this person is what it means. You don't need to wait all the time. If you look at like high level Adam Warlock players, I think the best example is Karova. He plays for Sentinels. He is like the best Adam Warlock, pro level Adam Warlock in my mind. He uses it in both situations. I think it is infinitely, obviously, more valuable if the enemy team, and what they would do, Sentinels would do, and Karova would do, is wait for the enemy team to dump a ton of ultimates, right? Think like Luna Snow plus Punisher ultimate, and they would wipe the team, or they would near wipe. And then because Adam Warlock has his ultimate, or Karova has his ultimate, he essentially negated all that progress, and he would, and Sentinels would gain a massive ult advantage, right? Tempo wise, their ult, they would have a bigger ult economy or a bigger ult bank because the enemy team just used 1 to 2 ultimates to wipe their whole team, and Adam Warlock essentially negates all that work. Even if the point gets lost, because the whole team comes back, they can flip the point very quickly, and they probably have more ults waiting to use those ults to flip the point, right? Whereas now Punisher is down on ultimate, Luna Snow is down on ultimate. The enemy team has to work with less to make more happen, while you as the Adam Warlock team can just kind of inherently snowball an ult advantage continuously, right? As long as it's Adam Warlock is using that ultimate in that way. Now, I don't disagree that you can tempo res in this case, where it's like you res 1 to 2 people and you just like, you know, keep everybody in the fight, especially if it's like last point situation, or it's like 90% or 99%, you just res because somebody got picked or somebody died or whatever. But typically, at least my rule of thumb, what I like to do is when at least one ultimate gets used to kill somebody, that's when you can make the decision and really start juggling in your head. Do I want to negate that ultimate's work? Do I want to negate that ultimate's work with my Adam Warlock ultimate? Again, like I said, there are situations where even if the enemy team doesn't use an ultimate, but it's like 99% situations, overtime situation, whatever, and the enemy team gets a pick and your team is like down 5v6, sometimes waiting for that massive res isn't the move, because you may not have enough time to contest the point, or what'll happen is you will like res stagger. Essentially, like some people will get res and some people will die later and get res later, and then like you'll continuously trickle in into overtime, which can kind of be bad because you don't have like your whole team there waiting to recontest. So it's super situational, but I think this guy brings up a good point of like, yeah, you can use it to revive one healer. You don't have to go for the big 5-man res every single time. And the stop wasting soul bond, that's something that the Adam Warlocks have to communicate with their supports. If they're getting dove, you have to patty cake. Learning to patty cake and learning to communicate when to patty cake and how to patty cake is very important for high level support. You can outlive Black Panther dives. You can outlive Psylocke ultimate if supports patty cake. There are a lot of ultimates in the game you can negate without using support ultimates, as long as both supports are patty caking each other. And if you don't know what patty caking means, it's just that both supports are healing each other. They're looking at each other and they're healing each other. That's all it is. I've heard it called patty caking. I think there's another term where it's like support boogie, which is I think the new term or whatever, but I've always known it as patty caking or like just pocketing each other. So this is a fun one. This was slop tubers when rent is due. And like essentially the screenshot or the images is like, this is why MarvelRivals is dying, why MarvelRivals is dying, how to fix it. Another crash out. Like there are a lot of people, right? And they're like, you know, pretty big content creators too, right? J3 in the space. You look at, I think Boger has one, Frito. You got a lot of different content creators essentially kind of beating the dead horse, and like when it's time to engagement. I'm not going to say engagement bait and engagement farm, because maybe these people genuinely do have criticisms towards the game. But to say Marvel Rivals is dying, or is it dying, or to make a definitive statement, this is why the game is dying. You can never actually tell when the game is dying, because if you only use PC Steam chart numbers, you are completely discounting the massive audience that you can't count for, which is the console audience. This game is a free game on Xbox and PS5. It is a free-to-play Marvel game on Xbox and PS5. And you could argue that there are so many other games out there that you could argue like, oh, you can extrapolate a similar trend, even if, you know, PC was peaking like 600,000 or 500,000. Now it's at a concurrent 80,000 or 100,000. Arguing that the game is dying is such a silly metric, because the way games work, games are cyclical. They always will be. But if you have a steady enough large player base, which in my mind PC does, it consistently has now for the past, like, I think 8 months, I think is the game has been out officially. Just on the PC end, like, I still find games very quickly. There's still a ton of content going on about it. TikTok, if you go over there, there's tons of content. YouTube, there are still tons of content. People are still making content about it. People are still playing the game. It is natural for people to be frustrated about the game, but I hate when you have content creators, big or small, kind of talk about like a definitive statement, like the game is dying. I think it's different when you have conversations about, this is why I think the game might be dying, or this is what I think the game is doing wrong and why the player base might, you know, start leaving and stuff like that. But definitive statements, like, okay, perfect example. You look at J3, this is why Marvel Rivals is dying. Now I'm just basing off the thumbnail. I haven't actually watched the video. I'm just basing it off the thumbnail, which you can criticize as well. Versus Bogers, which is Marvel Rivals dying? Those are two very different statements. And those two things mean different. Now, this could just be clickbait for J3. And this is just like a catching title where, and he could completely go into the video and go, Marvel Rivals isn't actually dying, or like, I don't think it's actually dying, but here's some reasons why I think it might be dying. Like, he could come intro it, but like just this kind of thumbnail and stuff like that is in of itself, you can critique that. And I hate definitive statements like this, because we just don't know the PS5 and Xbox, essentially the console side of the game, that could be keeping it alive. Console is a big market for a lot of these games, especially something like a hero shooter like Marvel Rivals. And the PS5 and Xbox side of this game could be thriving, could be hundreds of thousands of players, could even be like 100,000 to 200,000 players combined for that end. Is that game dying? I don't think so. All games eventually lose their player base, right? That's what happens. But it's about maintaining a consistent and steady player base. That's the big thing, right? Something that is manageable, something that's worth catering to. And we really don't have those metrics, because every game is different. If Marvel Rivals has a 70 to 80,000 player base consistently concurrent every day, and they deem that as, yeah, that's worth putting time into, people will buy skins, people will come back, blah, 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 that's worth it. But like, this kind of statement, like, this is why Marvel Rivals is dying, why Marvel Rivals is dying and how to fix it, versus is Marvel Rivals dying, is Marvel Rivals dead? Very, very different conversations and very, very different styles of videos that you can pivot into different messages. And the message this gives off, the Marvel Rivals is dying versus are very different. I just don't appreciate this kind of definitive language when it comes to talking about not just Marvel Rivals, but any game in general. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications, as that all helps me out a ton. I try and respond to every single one of the comments in my videos, because I generally do appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedules to leave one, as well as I love interacting with my own community. If you want to see more of my content, I stream over on Twitch about 3 to 4 times a week, starting around 7 p.m. PST. Over there, you'll get unedited versions of my videos, as well as we go over gameplay reviews, patch notes, and you guys can ask questions in the chat, and I respond pretty quickly. If you care more for short form content, I upload daily on both YouTube Shorts and TikTok. Over there, you'll get condensed versions of my videos, as well as stream highlights and my general thoughts on the game. All of that will be in the description box below, as well as a pop-up that will show up on the right side of the screen here, telling you where to go and all my handles. I really do appreciate all of you, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.